Good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. So today we will be discussing how the ExpandIT solution works for service organizations, and more specifically, enabling customers to use ExpandIT's self-service portal. I believe most of you are familiar with ExpandIT, but for those who don't know, ExpandIT is a Microsoft Dynamics independent software vendor, and we specialize in service management. And if I haven't met you already, my name is Julissa Gonzalez. I work on the marketing and business development side here at ExpandIT. And I also have Michael Ferbata, who is a field product expert, and he will be speaking in just a few minutes. So just a few housekeeping notes before we begin. We are recording today's session, so everyone who registered will get an email with a link to the on-demand version within the next few days. This session will run for approximately 45 minutes, which does include time for Q&A. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to submit them through the Q&A panel on your RingCentral console so we can address them towards the end. And if for some reason we don't have enough time to address all of your questions, please be assured that we will follow up with you directly following the webinar. And the agenda is as follows. We'll look at the objectives for the webinar, followed by key benefits customers and companies see. Next, I'll discuss key takeaways. Michael will then take over and get into the demo. And as mentioned, we did allocate some time for Q&A at the end. And we'll finish off with next steps and additional resources that you may use. So what is the main objective for today's webinar? The main objective of today's webinar is to provide an educational session on how ExpandIT Service Portal enables self-service options for customers. And now looking at the key benefits of a self-service portal. Well, having to request a service job or accessing past invoices of an installation is a hassle and time-consuming. And one way to streamline operations is by providing these self-service options. So the ExpandIT self-service portal that is available 24/7 enables users to directly request service jobs, see the status of a job, view past invoices, pay invoices online, and view past service orders and reports, all at their own time. And also by having a portal that's available 24/7, companies benefit by providing an improved customer experience and lowering their administrative costs. And during the session, Michael will go over two things. So first, how customers use the ExpandIT self-service portal. So requesting service calls, viewing the status online, viewing data captured by technicians such as reports, images, and documentation, and also viewing invoices online. And the second part is the integration to the ExpandIT software. So how the ExpandIT service portal works together with the mobile client and planning board. And now I'll hand it over to Michael to get into the demo part.
Thank you, Julissa. So my name is Michael Ferbata. And as Julissa stated, we'll be looking at the service portal today. I'm going to be looking at this from several different ways. The portal has a lot of configuration options that are available based off of usage, both from data from your ERP system or how you may configure some data externally. The portal would allow customers to log in to see data. And this portal can have data from the ERP system. The portal can have static content. Say you can create your own static pages for, say, frequently asked questions or documentation that you want to give, or knowledge base articles that you want to give customers access to for the end information. So they also can view data as it's going on. So they can view service requests or job and task information or project and activity information, depending on the ERP system's information. And they can display out to the customer so they can see what the status is of an order at a given time. So when I, as a customer, come and I log in, there's several different pages that we can show, and there are some other webinars that have been done in the past and are available online about the internet portal in general that we offer, and you know, essentially our web portal, and it's built off of templates. So there are different templates available, and this is an example of a template. So when I log in, I can see some basic buttons to view some basic information about tasks or service orders or work orders, really, and the locations of my items. There are other available templates that would give me maybe a snapshot of current service. And so these different templates fit a lot of different industries where people are trying to log in and see different snapshots. If you have a lot of ongoing service with, if your end customers have a lot of ongoing service with their end customers, or if they have, you know, not a lot of service with end customers. Maybe they just have intermittent service or request for service coming in. So as a user, as a company, I can log in, and the name of my company that I'm logged in as is called The Resort. So I've logged in and I can see some information about my company, and I can see who my service rep is and some other pieces. And I can look at what I can have serviced. So I can see what you're tracking for me, and we can see some basic information, some service items that are available to me. And so these are things that are being tracked as service. And the portal allows you to take service requests both against an item or not against an item. So there's no requirement for you to have tracked anything for them in the past to actually request service. They also can request service against things that you don't even sell. You can just deny that service and send that back to them that way. So I can see the items that I have, and I can see the listing of them, and I can actually click into them and view the details of those service items. And I can see things like where it is, and I can see what work orders are planned against it, and I can see what has in the past been accomplished against it. So here are some planned upcoming service. So a lot of customers might have, say, planned preventative maintenance schedules, and they might want to see when you're coming out, or they might just want to see when the planned one entry is if it's a one-off service request. And they might also want to see previously accomplished visits that were done in the past. They also can come up and look under the service request menu, and they can create a new service request, or they can look at existing work orders, or as things move out of in these accomplished pieces down here, they'll move into the archives over time, and you specify that time. So I can create a new request here. So I can simply come up here, and I can view my work orders first. I'm sorry, let's look at that first. So I can view my work orders, and I can see what work orders I have outstanding. You can see I have them in different stages for me to see. Here's a new one that I've requested online. Here's one that's been finished. Here's some that are awaiting approval. So they've been completed, but they haven't been approved yet. Here are some that are awaiting planning. And at any time, I can click into one of these and view information on this order. So as an example, I can view the service order 2's set of information. And I can come in here and I can see, you know, where that item is, or if I have a contact, I can upload files. Maybe I want to upload, say, some images of what the problem is or what the error was. I can write some comments to the end user about what the problem is. So I can come in here, and not only can I view what the request was, but I can add to it, send more data down to the technicians, down to the planners, and hopefully you've seen the other webinars that show planning capabilities and the mobile technician capabilities. And when we were looking at those pieces, we talked about this is where we would see information from the portal or back to the portal. And so this, from the user's perspective, that end customers can actually come in here and view that information. And they also can come in here and, so we talked about that, they can request new service. So they can come in here and they would just simply decide and select the item that they want service against, or decide that they don't want to service against an item. So they can do both. And then when they create that service request, it again looks identical to one that already exists, and will populate that service request back to the ERP system. It'll also become available for planning through the planning board. It'll become, once planned, become available through to the mobile client to be worked on. So this is kind of the basis of how people can log in. They can see what they have that you service. They can request new service or see what service is outstanding. They can view documents you've uploaded or downloaded. And in this case, for this new customer, specifically for here, I unfortunately just deleted them, but you can come in and view them, but you also can view the forms. And I think if you've seen the other webinars, you've seen the power of forms, the ability to take away those paper-based forms, say for a job safety assessment or a work summary, and you can come in and actually view those. So I, as a customer, could say, you know, what was the work summary on this work order on this day? And I can come in here and actually view that and see that printout of what's become available to me. And I'm just trying to connect to this other one. There we go. And so I could view another form here and just say, you know, what does that JSA look like that was filled out on the mobile client? And this is an example of that. So I have this capability of making available information, again, from our planners and from our mobile technicians out to those end customers. And as the planner sees it in real time from the mobile technician, so does the end customer, and he can see those pieces within here. So again, you know, we have the ability to see our items, we have the ability to request or view work orders or new work orders, documents, and forms. And the portal offers a few other capabilities I think are important to highlight. The portal offers the capabilities, we touched on this, about offering static pages. And those static pages could be anything that you want about them, but it offers a full content management system that you can create your own static pages. So again, you can come in here and create pages that can have information about your company or about products, and you create, through that content management system, this top menu however you see fit. And then you can add those categories and subcategories like this, and you can add those products and those pieces of information. So it's an example of how you can add and create, and we have customers who've created whole knowledge-based systems based off products, based off of these static pages. And so people can come in, they can view their items, request service, but they also can essentially self-help and begin that process internally of doing that. There's also a full capability of allowing for products, or say spare parts. We see that a lot through the portal, to be sold. So if we're looking at that and we say we're looking at, say, we can actually create a menu structure where people can come in and they can view products, and they can actually come in and view, say, spare parts for the products that they own. So this water pump might be a component of one of the service items I have, and they can all link together, so then people can come in and say, I want to buy this water pump, or I want to buy, you know, some type of pump or something that goes with an item that I already have. And the items don't have to be portions of what I already have, but they may be. And there's capabilities of then actually buying these through the web. And there's a lot of, there's another webinar actually about this online, essentially e-commerce portion of the platform. But this is directly integrated with the portal. So I think it's important to discuss that the e-commerce portion of it is available and commonly used in conjunction with the portal. Because as customers request service or view their items or do self-help through static pages, they may realize that they actually need spare parts or additional parts or preventative maintenance parts and all these different pieces. So I feel like that's an important part to discuss and talk about. So if you view the other webinar about the e-commerce portal, all of the functionality that is there, can be made available directly through the portal if you want to utilize that portion of it in conjunction with the portal, and it's all integrated. The next part is all around the account settings. I know that it was discussed in the beginning about what customers can do, and when I first touched on it, I said I'm logging in as one customer, and there's lots of different models of customers. You might have one-off customers. You might have people you've sold an item to that you want them to come register with you and then request service maybe. Or maybe you have companies that you say are franchised. And so you might offer individual logins to each franchise, but then there might be a central office that does the billing. That might be set up in your ERP system. And so the central office needs to be able to see all the service items for the sub offices and all the other pieces. And you may even want them to manage the accounts for the franchisees. And all of that's possible through the portal, through this account settings. So, customers can view all their own information here online. So, company information and those pieces, they can manage all of their own passwords. It has two-step verification processes. I think the next portion, this update notification settings, is very important as well. We're going to touch on that. It's going to be the ability for the end customer to determine when they want to be notified. So they actually can come in here and set up and say, I want to be notified when an order has started or when a technician is traveling to my location. I want to be notified by text message or email. I want to be notified when my order has been fulfilled. Those different types of notifications. So you as a company, you set up and determine based off some triggers available what notifications you want to offer, and then customers can set up their own notification warnings within here. And so each individual company, so each individual login, so for a login at Store X can have notifications set one way, and another user at Store X can have notifications set up another way. So it's not universal, it's user specific about how I want to be able to notify, but you as a company can offer different notifications to that end customer. The end customers can view their orders and invoices and also their ledger entries. And so the ledger entries come directly out of the ERP systems. They'll include credit memos and invoices and payments and orders and invoices. And they're broken up just logically because it gives you the ability to kind of think about things that maybe you ordered or that you have to pay, say service invoices and those previous things. And the ledger entries give you more information about maybe what you have paid, what's currently open, what isn't open, and those types of things. And people can actually see what they may have, what would be on those invoices. And so if we're thinking about service, you would see probably labor, you would see probably parts, and you may not see those if they were removed, but if they were posted through as part of the invoice, you would see them, and you would even see the discounts and pieces that might have been applied to them. So I, as a company, can come in and not just view, the items I have or request service, but I can view the previous services, but I also can see what I'm being charged for those previous services, and I can view those pieces of information. Oh, I had that open again. Sorry. So I'm able to come in and actually view a lot of this information here and show this. So how does all of this work in conjunction with that mobile client and that planning board? So, we've touched on this in the past and how planners would see these pieces and how they would come in. But just as I can see the work orders here for myself, the planners can see these work orders and they can plan them. And then the technician will see them and work on them. And again, portal can then set up those notifications, sending notifications out to the customer. Maybe a new comment was made on it. Maybe a picture was uploaded. And then I, as a customer, can get those notifications sent to me. I can log back in and view those documents or those details or read the updated text or see the updated status, and actually see those things and push through and do that work. So, the goal from an ExpandIT standpoint is to enable your customers to not call you. And it's not that they shouldn't be calling you, but people are moving more online. They're moving more towards the want to be able to view this documentation without having to call and wait for an email to get it. This is especially true around these forms. So when we touched on these forms earlier, it's especially true around forms, being able to come in and actually view the forms for service or work done in the past, whether that's an inspection report. Say, as an example, you may have a forklift, a company that that you service and you do inspections on forklifts. It's very important that that end customer can actually log in and get the inspection form if they're being inspected. So there's a lot of use case scenarios of where these portals actually greatly benefit the end customer, because they may need that information at the drop of a hat. You're making it available to them without them having to go through you or wait on those calls. Okay, so at that point, this is the general concept of the service portal. And I will hand it back over to Julissa.
Thank you, Michael. So now we're going to take some questions from the audience. And the first one we have is, what is the difference between the ExpandIT Service Portal and the ExpandIT Commerce Portal?
Sure. It's a good question because I mentioned both. The e-commerce portal and the ExpandIT Service Portal are built within the same framework. They're not the exact same piece. So the service portal enables customers to come in and view their service items, create service requests, view their service requests, and it offers that direct integration back with our mobile portion of the application, the planning and the mobile client. It's not an e-commerce system trying to sell products. However, we see a common integration between the two. It's why I mentioned it, brought it up, and even showed a portion of it. It's because we commonly see service portals also wanting to sell those spare parts or those pieces or preventative maintenance items that go with service items people own. However, it's not a requirement. It's also not a requirement to have the service portal to have an e-commerce platform. So if you've seen the other webinars about the e-commerce platform, you'll see that you can create catalogs and sell your items online, and just that's the whole premise of it. It is an online store. And yes, what I showed you is an online store. This being able to sell products, say out of a catalog, products, machines, gas machines, is the premise of being able to sell this product online. But again, if you mix it with the portal, you're seeing a lot of times that it's for spare parts or for those types of pieces that go with the portal. So again, they're completely separate, meaning they serve two separate purposes, but we commonly see them used together, within the last few years. Especially if you are a company wanting to put a service portal online, we see a lot of use of the e-commerce integrated with it.
Perfect. And we do have I think it's a follow-up question to that. So is there the ability to select what specific forms customers can and cannot see through this portal? For example, if we use a form for internal notes and do not want that to be visible to the customer.
There is currently not a mechanism to stop it from showing specific forms within the form. However, my understanding is that is on the roadmap so that forms will be identified as portal visible, I think is going to be the wording, or portal available. So there is a roadmap item to add that as part of this portal so that your forms can be either internal or customer facing.
Great. The next question we have is, how do I link or connect the ExpandIT Service Portal to my company website?
Okay, so there's different ways to do that. Different customers will choose the approach to make that happen. One way that some customers will do it is they'll use this as their website. So again, this offers a full content management system. You can create your own pages. You can create your own content. So you can actually have a homepage with documentation. You can log in and have separate menu items for the logged in people. And there's a lot of features that go on behind the scenes for those logins, different roles that you give the logins. Those roles can have different permissions and see different pieces. Some logins might have access to the service portal, some might not. And so you can create a lot of different pieces with that. So because you can create all that static content, you may keep it. Some customers will create it as, say, a subdomain of their existing site. They may change the colors to match theirs, or they may change even the look and feel of it to match their existing site. They may create it as a subdomain, so they may link off of their existing site, say when you click service and go to that subsite. You'll actually see that with a lot of even major manufacturers of, say, computer equipment or some of the other pieces. You'll notice when you go to service, you're actually linking to a sub-site within it. So it's fairly common within our application to link from an existing site to ourselves as a sub-site, meaning a subdomain. It also could be a completely separate site. So we see integrations where we're linking from existing sites. We see integrations where we're essentially linking from an existing site, but trying to appear or function as if it was the same site, like a subdomain. And we see instances where it's overtaken the existing sites, and now it is their full site. And we have customers using it all three ways of working with the system.
Perfect, thank you. And one last question. So can the ExpandIT Service Portal or Commerce Portal be customized?
So it can be. There are both the e-commerce and the service portal are completely customizable, but it depends on the version of the software that's purchased. And so there are different versions of the software available. And so it is customizable, and we see needs for that, both visually and for the purpose of maybe having to match an existing site. Maybe we visually need to modify it, but maybe the functionality stays the same. But you may have functionality that needs to change. So as an example, there was a mention of making some forms not visible to customers. We actually have some customers that have a modification that does exactly that. So their specific version is modified. But again, it depends on the version of the service portal that's purchased.
Perfect, thank you. And now if we can just get back to the presentation. So thank you, Michael, for that. And just a recap of the main benefits and takeaways. So we did see during the demo how ExpandIT Service Portal enables customers to request service, view service request statuses, view past invoices, and more. And we also saw how ExpandIT Service Portal has the potential to provide an improved customer experience and lower administrative costs. And so there are a few additional resources that are available for your use. As mentioned, we will be distributing the recording afterwards, so you can go back and use it as you may like. We do have other educational videos on our official YouTube page, and we will have other educational webinars in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for those as well. At this moment, I'll actually do a polling question. So we did want to get your input to see what topics would be of interest to you, so we can take that into consideration when preparing the next webinar. So I'll stop here for 30 seconds and let everybody answer. And while people are voting, if you do see a topic here, or if you don't see a topic here, but you are interested in seeing one that we haven't covered, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is being displayed, and we will also take those topics into consideration. So I'll end the polling now. And with that being said, thank you everyone for joining us. I hope everyone has a great day.